Hello, everybody. Welcome back into another edition of Prime Sports World, coming to you on a Monday. I know Mondays suck, but we're going to try to make your lives a little bit better with some Prime Sports World action. I'm David Huppman. Right there is Mr. TJ Hopkins. And if you're looking for consistent content on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch, Prime Sports World, a pretty good place to hang out. We go live 6 or 7 times a week, bringing the most up-to-date content. Please like, share, and subscribe us on all the places. We are Prime Sports World in all the places except for Twitch or Twitter, where we are PSW_David. If you want to get involved in our conversation today, which is which NFL coaches are sitting on a chilly room temperature or a hot seat in 2022, I will share the StreamYard link to YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and Facebook. So if you wanted to join us in this conversation and talk a little bit about how hot the seat is on the coaches of various coaches in the National Football League, please join us. We always welcome guest join us on the show. TJ, man, how are you doing on a Monday, buddy?
Good. How are you?
You know what? I'm doing pretty good. I went to the gym today. I had a good time at the gym. I did tweak my hamstring a bit, but I think it's just because I've been overdoing it a bit at the gym. So I'm just gonna take it a little easier tomorrow, and because I haven't missed a day at the gym in like 2 weeks.
So what you can do is I don't expect you to have any like electrotherapy equipment at your house. I don't expect you to have that.
For sure got that, dude.
Uh, if not, I highly recommend getting it. Like that way you can just like treat your hammy like every 10 to 12 minutes because that's how long you can only do that for. But
Well,
since you don't have that, since you don't have that, take a towel, wet it, freeze it, and then stick that to the back of your leg. That works.
Because I got to the point where I couldn't like bend my leg. Like I had to like sit in the sauna and loosen it up a little bit in order for it to like I straight up couldn't bend my leg like at all.
Take a body towel like one you use to dry off after you get out of the shower. Take one of those, wet it, put it in the freezer, and then stick it to the back of your leg.
I'm gonna try that because it feels a lot better now. But like, I have a feeling if I like try to go to the gym tomorrow and like if I played for like 2 hours today, so I think it has to do with I was just like overdoing it. I played for 3 hours.
Yeah, when you wake up in the morning, it's gonna suck.
No, dude, I'll be fine.
All right.
I dealt with the same problem yesterday, and I felt pretty good when I woke up. So, this is the joys of getting old, TJ. You get all of this to look forward to, all of the body falling apart on you on a regular basis, dude. It's a good time. Let's talk about some NFL head coaches, because that's the reason we're here on the show. So this is the basic idea. So if you're sitting on a chilly seat, that means you're good no matter what happens this season. If you're sitting on a room temperature seat, you're probably good this season, unless things go completely off the rails. And then if you're sitting on a hot seat, that means you're probably if your team does not have a good season, or if your team does not performs below expectations, you're probably going to be getting your walking papers. Certain coaches in the National Football League. Let's start with the best place to be, which is the chilly seat. Which coaches are not in danger of being fired this season, no matter what happens? TJ, I will let you go first.
Coaches that's on the chilly seat. Well, obviously you got Sean McVay. He literally just won a chip. Zach Taylor in Cincinnati. He just took the team to the Super Bowl. Bill Belichick is like the ultimate golden boy, ultimate safe spot, ultimate green light. What's his name? Pete Carroll also has that immunity because Pete Carroll's just gonna
I super disagree with you on Pete Carroll.
That's fine, but I feel like at this point, if they haven't fired Pete Carroll, then they're just gonna let Pete Carroll ride off until the sunset. Don't get me. I agree with you. Like he should be on the hottest of hot seats. Like he really should be. But you kind of pointed out the reasons why he should have been going like a long time ago, right? They haven't drafted well over the past half decade. You wasted prime years of Russell Wilson's career. You didn't do anything about it, but they're still hanging on to those. They're still hanging on to that one Super Bowl, and those 2 Super Bowl trips. They're still hanging on to that. So, for that reason alone, he's fine. Mike Tomlin ain't going over there. Right? The Steelers look at the history of the Pittsburgh Steelers. They've had
Three
three
head
coaches,
coaches or four coaches in the history of the franchise.
three
Yeah.
three head coaches in the history of the franchise. Right? Um, I wouldn't. I was gonna say him, but I'll save him for room temp. So I'm not gonna say who it is.
All right.
My bad. Yeah. I was just thinking. Yeah. He's definitely room temp. I don't think that seat is chilly anymore. Andy Reid for sure.
Yep. Totally agree with you on that. I've actually agreed with
Andy
all the
Reid.
ones I've actually totally agreed with all of them you have except for one that I kind of voiced my. Pete Carroll. I'm telling you,
And it's
if Pete,
Pete Carroll. It's fine.
yeah.
That is fine. Like I'm not what you call it. I'm not in a position to disagree with you. I just think that you had ample opportunity to fire him or move on from him, and you haven't. Oh, and what's his name in Buffalo? Uh,
Sean McDermott.
yeah, I think his seat's pretty chill too.
Sean McDermott. All right, yeah. My list is exactly the same as yours, with some other tweaks on it. So I have all of those guys. So my chili seat guys are Mike Tomlin, Bill Belichick, Sean McVay, Sean McDermott, Zach Taylor, Andy Reid, and I have one more. He coaches in the AFC. Can you guess who it is?
Coaches in the AFC. Oh, Harbaugh. Yeah, Scott Harbaugh.
No, it's not.
It's not Harbaugh.
No, it's not Harbaugh.
Harbaugh's on mine though. I'm adding Harbaugh.
Okay, Harbaugh is not on my list.
Harbaugh's not on your list?
No, I think if things would go south there in Baltimore one more season, I could see a scenario where they're looking for somebody else.
Damn, that's cold.
I know, but he had the best record in the AFC last year.
Oh, who had the best record in the league? Why is this affecting me? Oh, that okay. So that's who I was. That's who I'm saying is room temp.
I think Mike Vrabel is safe. Like I would be shocked if they made a move on him. You make it to the playoffs every season. You had the number one seed in the AFC last year. Who knows what could have happened if they had healthy Derrick Henry? I think Mike Vrabel is pretty safe.
That's fair, but the reason I say it's room temp, I think it's more so the quarterback situation than anything. So,
So you're saying
you know,
if they walk away from Ryan Tannehill, you think they'd also consider walking away from Vrabel?
that's the next step,
I can
right?
see that. I can
Because
see that.
we've seen that before, right? Like teams change the quarterback, and when that doesn't work, they change the head coach. And Ryan Tannehill is all signs are showing this is it for him. Like this is a make or break year for him in Tennessee. You were like you said, you went to the playoffs last year. You were the number one seed in the entire AFC last year. You lost a game where you sacked the opposing quarterback 9 times. 9. You win that game.
Yeah.
Like you're supposed to win that game. Like that opposing quarterback is supposed to be so beat up and so shell shocked that the minute he snaps the ball, he's hearing footsteps. That obviously wasn't the case, but to me, that's why we'll get to it. With Mike Vrabel, his seat's room to me personally.
I feel the same the same way when it comes to kind of like the Harbaugh situation. You know, they didn't make the playoffs. I know that Lamar Jackson was injured last season, but maybe they just want to have a different voice, a different opinion there.
Yeah, that's cool. They've come last year he gets last year he gets a pass because the whole team was just beat to hell. Right, Lamar went down. His entire starting secondary went down. Calais Campbell got old. like they Hollywood Brown was out. Like they just had nothing going for him, and he somehow, some way, still had that team competitive in some games, right? So that's why John Harbaugh say to me, I liken how the Steelers I ran. I liken them to how the how the Baltimore Ravens I ran too. Like you don't see a lot of hit, you don't see a lot of change in those two respective organizations, right? And
Yeah, you're not wrong. I just, moving on to, let's just move straight into comfortable. I agree with the chili. It's pretty heat treated chili for most of the guys. I just totally disagree with you on Pete Carroll. I understand where you're coming from and like why you feel the way you feel about it. I just completely disagree with it. I think that things go south with, I would say will, because they're gonna have probably the worst team in the NFL, but that's gonna be in hold. I think they're gonna change everything in Seattle after this offseason. Moving on, we got the seat that's currently comfortable. The seat may be comfortable now, either because they just got hired either last season or the season before. I did not rank any of the coaches that basically, were basically hired this offseason to make any of my lists. I don't expect any of them to get fired unless, stuff goes rogue like Houston.
Right. So,
like Houston, Houston.
Houston, yeah. So Eberflus is not on this list.
Neither is Mike McDaniels.
The Vikings head coach. Mike
Connolly.
Yeah. None of those guys are. Okay, that's fair. Comfortable. Who's comfortable?
So I have a couple of guys I have that's comfortable. First is three guys that were hired last offseason. Robert Saleh, I think, is pretty comfortable. Arthur Smith, I think, is pretty comfortable. Dan Campbell, also pretty comfortable in his position as the head coach of the Detroit Lions.
I agree. The Dan Campbell. I hope they keep that man around. He's quirky, he's odd, his quotes are out of space, but he's developing what looks like to be a hard, gritty culture in Detroit, and that's something they need desperately. I just hope that, if they have another season of what just happened, that they don't let him go. Because that's just hitting the reset button on again. And
I agree. I mean, if you're not going to fire, like they did this with Matt Patricia, they've done this with a lot of their head coaches. I think they got to give this guy some time. The next one is John Harbaugh. As I mentioned when we talked about Chili's seat, I just think if things don't go well in Baltimore, they just want to get a different voice, a different guy in there. I mean, this team is outside of the Super Bowl season. I know they made the playoffs every season, but they usually kind of flame out in the playoffs every single year. They may be looking to just get a different voice there. John Harbaugh has been in there a long time. Maybe just time for somebody new in that situation there in Baltimore. And then I have Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan's seat is pretty safe. But he's put all his eggs into the Trey Lance basket. If that does not go well, we could be looking at a scenario where they're looking for somebody else. Probably not this season, but if thinking how things go. Ron Rivera. Ron Rivera was also kind of the hardest guy. Ron Rivera was kind of the hardest guy to rank here because I think there's like a testament to like he could be on a very chilly seat. And I think his seat could be on fire too. It really all depends on how things go with Baltimore and what kind of mood Daniel Snyder wakes up. And even though the NFL owners are voting to remove him from the team, I would be shocked if that actually happened. But Ron Rivera, I think that seat is pretty comfortable for Ron Rivera. And I know he's stealing money from the league, but
exactly, that's exactly why. Like you've been under a federal investigation for the better part of a year now, and from the looks of things, they're not even close to being done. You've done everything from sexual misconduct to stealing.
Yeah, he basically embezzled money from the league.
Right. So
and then the last guy I have is in the comfortable situations, Matt LaFleur. I think as long as Aaron Rodgers is happy with Matt LaFleur being his head coach, I think he will continue to be so. But Aaron Rodgers is a finicky guy. He could literally wake up tomorrow and be like, you know what, I want Matt LaFleur gone, and Matt LaFleur would be out of a job. So,
all right. So I agree with Dan Campbell. I agree with Arthur Smith, mostly because, like, again, these teams are rebuilt, and Robert Saleh. These three teams are rebuilding. You cannot expect change if you're constantly revolving the door as head coach and changing philosophy. That's a recipe for disaster, and that's partly why, especially the Lions and the Jets, that's partly why you've been a dumpster fire of a franchise for the last decade.
It's true.
Like the Jets more so than the Lions, because at least the Jets can say 10 years ago we went to back AFC championships, right? They can say that. Um, I like Kyle Shanahan, but that's a tough ask to ask of Trey Lance to come in and
His
you
chips
know,
are all in the middle when it comes to Trey Lance.
like
If Trey
if
Lance
that
doesn't work
doesn't
out,
work,
he's
if
going to be
that
out of a
doesn't
job.
work, man. Like, cause you gotta keep in mind, like you chose him over Mac Jones, you chose him over Justin Fields, like that's
Mm-hmm.
that's a tough ask. I like Ron
Wait.
Rivera. I think Ron Rivera has a lot more to. Ron Rivera has a lot more to worry about than his job right now. Obviously, like first off, I'm happy he's healthy. You know, he had the cancer. He had the cancer bout a couple years ago. Or was that last year?
I mean, no, 2 years ago.
2 years ago. So
Yeah, during the COVID season. So,
you're
or I guess we had,
always
yeah.
Yeah, 2 years ago. You're always conscious about that. Your health comes first. Health and wealth is number one. The Dan Snyder stuff, that's out of his control, right? Like he can't do anything about that. That's above his pay grade, right? Like
It's true.
that's above his pay grade. He's not too concerned with that. Trying to think. He's not a rookie head coach, but he's been a head coach before, and that's Doug Peterson. I think Doug Peterson has a pretty comfortable seat
Yeah, I agree with
down
you.
there, especially with what they just went through.
It's true. Yeah, 5%. No doubt.
So Doug Peterson's pretty comfortable. I think Kevin Stefanski's got a comfortable seat in Cleveland, especially the moves they just made. The only issue you have now is the Baker Mayfield drama, which doesn't seem like it's
It's not
being
going anywhere.
cleared up.
It's not going anywhere. It's going to be a thing.
And
They're not trading them anywhere, so nobody
no,
wants
and
them.
I'm adding. Oh my God, what is this kid's name? Not kid, because he's older than me. Um, Chargers.
Oh, Brandon Staley.
Yeah, Brandon. Yeah, I think he has a pretty comfortable seat too.
Yeah, I disagree with two of the guys on your list for very comfortable. You'll see when we get to it. But yeah, overall, I think the second year head coach, I think are actually pretty safe. And Ron Rivera, I agree with you as well. I think you put Kyle Shanahan in this list too, in this group, or
Oh yeah.
yeah, obviously I agree with all the guys you have on this list. There's two guys that for sure. I don't agree with you at all on Kevin Stefanski and Brandon Staley. I think if Kevin Stefanski doesn't take the Browns, if they miss the playoffs, he's going to get fired. That's my honest opinion on it. Because he'll only my caveat there is if Deshaun Watson avoids some sort of suspension and he plays the entire season and they don't make the playoffs, I think the expectations for Cleveland, that'll be 2 years in a row where Cleveland has not met the expectations of their fan base and not expectations of their ownership and not expectations of the money that's being spent on that roster. They just spent a bunch of money to bring Jadeveon Clowney back yesterday. Kevin Stefanski will be the scapegoat. If this Cleveland Browns team, for some reason, doesn't make the playoffs next season, Kevin Stefanski will be the scapegoat. I also feel the same thing about Brandon Staley. There's too much talent on that Chargers team for them to miss the playoffs, especially after the stuff that he put them through last season with like the timeout and going for it on fourth down and the questionable decision-making. I think if the Chargers are not a playoff team and it's because of bad coaching decisions by Brandon Staley, I think he's going to get fired too.
Well, that's why you hope he's grown as a head coach, right?
Yeah.
No, don't get me wrong. Like some of those going forward on fourth downs, I get, right? Like if I'm playing Kansas City, I'm doing everything in my power to keep Pat Mahomes and that high-powered offense off the field. Right? I'm not getting no. I don't care. If it's obviously he never went for it when it was like a crazy fourth down. Like if it's 4th and 20, he wasn't going for it, right?
Yeah,
You know, like that.
I know, but
So let's put that in perspective. It was always a 4th and 5, a 4th and 6, 4th and 2. Obviously, the only question that people had about him going for it on 4th down is the area in the field
yeah,
that he decided. So like a couple of those 4th down situations were in no man's land. Like that's
I don't hate the no man's land decisions, but it's decisions like to go for it on 4th down when like in your own territory still. Like it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So
Well, either way you look at it, like whether it's your territory or no man's land, you're giving an offense like Pat Mahomes and the
it's true.
Chiefs
It's true.
short field to work with, right? That's 50 yards. Stefanski, the reason I say Stefanski's safe is the whole Baker Mayfield thing, bro. Like he handled that like a G. Like he really could have said, like he really could have came out at any point and said, yo, I can't win with this dude. He could have literally just threw him under the bus and said, like, we gave him the best running back duo. We gave him a top receiving core. Our defense is a championship level defense, and we can't get over the hump because of this motherfucker.
I agree with you. But I think if Deshaun Watson doesn't get suspended and that Baker Mayfield stuff gets figured out before the start of the regular season and this team still misses the playoffs somehow, Kevin Stefanski will end up being the scapegoat. That's just my honest opinion, because this will be 2 years in a row where this team's underachieved, and 2 out of the 3 years where he's been the head coach of this football team where they've underachieved. Let's go to that seat is on fire. Moving on from it's pretty comfortable to the seat being on fire. Have you ever seen that video where the lady it's like, man, the building is on fire. We don't need to be in no fire. You know what video I'm talking about?
Yes. Yeah.
Video's just so good. The building is on fire. So what buildings, which coaches' hot seats are on fire?
Mike McCarthy, for sure. Mike McCarthy is burning. Right? Like he has to walk into that building every day with eyes in the back of his head because what's his name? Dan Quinn could replace him at any given moment.
Kellen Moore.
Kellen Moore is a new boy wonder, could replace him at any moment. So obviously Mike McCarthy. That's another roster you look at. They've spent, like Jerry Jones looks at, like, I've spent a bunch of money and we're underachieving, not knowing that, Jerry, you didn't build a championship roster the way you think you did, bro. Your money's tied up in that, Zeke, and that's literally
Tyron Smith. I mean,
and no disrespect to Tyron. Tyron Smith is a Hall of Fame player. Like, the minute he hangs him up, Tyron Smith gets 5 years from now, whenever Tyron Smith decides to not play football anymore, he's getting that knock on his door. Hey, the Pro Football Hall of Fame would like to invite you to Canton.
Yep.
All right?
Totally agree.
Tyron Smith has just been beat to hell the last two, three seasons. Right? Defensively, they have holes still in the secondary. Like, Trayvon Diggs is still Trayvon Diggs. Like, yeah, he led the league in picks, but he also gave up over...
led the league in passes, yards allowed.
Yards allowed. Like, he gave up over 1,000 yards, bro. And, like, just him.
Yeah.
Just him. Like, just him by himself.
I mean, the pass rushing core is kind of a mess right now because they never replaced Randy Gregory. Yeah, it's true.
The linebacking core is a mess because it's just, you're still pinning your hopes on Van Der Esch, who
can't stay healthy, again, might have to retire.
Again, bro, health and wealth, bro. Like, if your neck is constantly in flux.
Yeah, totally agree.
Come on, man.
I also agree with you on this Mike McCarthy decision. Yeah, he's for sure on a very hot seat. Yeah, I think if Dallas anything but a Super Bowl or at least a berth into the NFC Championship, I think he's going to be looking for a new job. And if you're a Green Bay Packers fan like Izzy, you probably wanted him to be fired a long time ago.
Mike McCarthy. Obviously, he's not. I already know you're gonna add Pete Carroll to this list, so go ahead and do that.
Well, I have. I'll just add the ones I already talked about. So here's Pete Carroll, and then here is Kevin Stefanski, and here is Brandon Staley. I'm firing a lot more coaches than you are, my friend. All right.
which is which is rare.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm usually the one that's firing people. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna throw Cliff Kingsbury on that list.
Yep. Like,
I just think that this whole Kyler Murray issue is not going the way that they wanted to. You're already missing. You're already missing DeAndre Hopkins for 7 games.
6. Well,
Yeah,
6 games.
all right, something like that. And you got you got this Kyler Murray not reporting the OTAs, which we'll get to another day.
Later episode, yeah.
That again, this is a roster. You look at it. I've given you everything to be successful. Right?
I also think it's more than just that. The fact that this team basically didn't show up for that playoff game last season, and they play in a division where you look at it like you're probably the third best team in your own division, and when you put that scope into the whole NFC, you're probably like a fringe playoff team unless something out of this world happens. The fact that you won the division last year was kind of a miracle. This is I mean, obviously he doesn't make free agency decisions for this roster, so you let Chandler Jones walk, and like you don't really replace him with anybody. This Kyler Murray situation, and the fact that this team underachieved down the stretch. I mean, you were 8-2, and then you finished the season 2-8 to basically coast into the playoffs.
Yeah, they it was kind of funny because like they went around, they turned themselves into a meme. So they come to Chicago, right? They come to Chicago. They beat the Bears, and they posted a photo of a cardinal, like the bird, like a cardinal bird, sitting on top of a turned upside down beam. Like they turned the beam sideways and sat the cardinal on top of it, and they proceeded to lose every game but one after that Bears game, and somebody was like, the Cardinals are 1-5 or 1-6 since posting this picture, which is, hey, like you're only good until you're not. I think Matt LaFleur's seat is definitely hot. Packer fans may not want to admit it, but you gotta look at it like this: you've had 3 straight wins, 3 straight seasons of 13-win seasons. All right. Division, NFC Championship, you got bounced. Divisional, you got bounced. And what was it the first year?
I think they got bounced in the champ. I don't know. I think they got bounced by the 49ers in the
NFC Championship. Yeah, that was NFC. So NFC Championship bounced. NFC Championship again bounced. Divisional bounced. You can't keep winning 12, 13 games a season, winning the division just to come up short when it's time to play grown man football. Right? Aaron Rodgers or not. Right? Like you got to win those games. Like you come on. Right? Like so you can justify the losses all you want. Like, oh, the defense did. Like I don't care. That's the same defense you had that made you go 13-4.
This is a defense you believed in, and all of a sudden you want to blame the defense. You want to point fingers where it doesn't probably should anywhere but where it should be pointed, right? Like the defense in the most recent NFC Championship did not allow a touchdown, and they still lost the game.
Right, the most recent touchdown, the most recent NFC Championship, your offense scored 1 touchdown. That was the opening drive, and they didn't score again. But it's the defense. Special teams.
Yeah.
It's a receiving core. Like
it's not Aaron Rodgers in his somewhat middling play. I don't actually necessarily hate the Matt LaFleur thing. I just think he that's why I have him at comfortable. I didn't put him at chilly.
If your ownership, like, and the ownership kind of did this to themselves because again, like Aaron Rodgers got to them with no Vaseline, bro. He went in, no Vaseline, right? And they did it to themselves. They did it to themselves, right? They allowed this man to basically bash the entire organization for 2 years. 2 years, he went in.
Yeah, dude, he showed up on every TV show.
Like just for the organization to cave in and pay him. right? Like, so whatever he says now, whatever Aaron Rodgers has to say, you brought it on yourself. You like that. That is your that's your bed. You made it. Lie in it.
And Matt LaFleur could become a scapegoat if like the Packers season ends early again this season. Like they're not going to point the finger at Aaron Rodgers, and like I don't think they're going to point the fingers at the really young wide receiving core. It's going to end up on Matt LaFleur's shoulders. I think that's interesting.
So, yes. Am I missing anybody? I'm trying to think.
Well, I got two more seats that are literally on fire. Matt
Go
Rule.
ahead.
Matt Rule is.
Oh yeah, of course.
Matt
No,
Rule.
yeah.
Matt Rule.
Yeah, absolutely. Add him to mine too. As unfair as I may think it is, me personally, as unfair as I may think it is, you gave me a 6-year deal because the organization was just awful.
Yeah, trash. But yeah, Matt Rule hasn't. They haven't gotten any better. They've regressed. They've regressed under Matt Rule. The fact that he still has his job today is a little shocking to me. To be totally honest with you, I thought for sure.
Again, so like you gotta look at this at two ways, right? You gave me a 6-year deal, right? You gave me a 6-year deal. You fired the OC that you brought in. You fired the OC that I brought in with me, Joe Brady. You fired him after 1 year, bro. 1 year. I've had 5 different quarterbacks in my 4 years, in my 3 or 4 years since I've been here, right?
Yeah.
Sam Darnold dusted off Cam Newton, PJ Walker,
Teddy Bridgewater.
That's 4.
I think they also had Brandon Allen. I think
5.
One of the Allens, whatever. Not the good Allen, but one of the Allens.
So it was like I've had 5 different. So David Tepper, the owner of the Carolina, you want to call yourself an impatient man? Like, bro, like what gives you the right to be impatient? What have you given me to work with for you to be impatient? I'm gonna throw Frank Reich in there.
I agree with you on Frank Reich. I think my Frank Reich seat's super on fire too. I think if they have another season.
Same situation. It's as unfair as we may think it is, because Frank Reich's a hell of a coach. But
he's a great coach. But they haven't had the success that the owner. Like when you have Jim Irsay as your owner, he has a certain level of expectations, and he's also insane. So when the owner of your franchise is insane, you probably want to do things better. Like
now what goes into this is you had. What was it? You had 3 games to clinch a playoff spot. You lost all 3.
Yeah.
To what was it? The Raiders, and the last 2 were to divisional opponents.
Yeah, we had played the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think there was like a Houston Texans game in there, and then they had the Raiders game.
So like you win those games, you win in the end. Plain and simple.
I mean, me and Christian talked about this a lot towards the end of last season. If the Colts had gotten to the dance, they would have been a really dangerous team because they were peaking at the right time.
Run game? Yeah, that run game. Oh my God. You already added PKO.
But Frank, I think if they have a season where they don't even make the playoffs, I think he's for sure going to get fired. This is an ownership. You think that whoever the owner of the Tepper is impatient in Carolina? Yeah, Jim Irsay is way more impatient. They literally just they had one season with Carson Wentz. We don't care that we traded 2 first-round picks for this guy. Let's just ship him off for whatever we can get, and then trade away another pick to get Matt Ryan in here. Like, this is a guy that's extremely impatient. I think they have upgraded the quarterback position, but I think I could see a scenario where if Frank Reich and the Indianapolis Colts don't make the playoffs this season, or if they don't have a long playoff run, even I could see it for sure, like a scenario where he gets fired. Not to mention, I think he's in the last year of his deal, anyways. So. And he hasn't been really dealt a fair card either. Like, you take this job thinking you're going to have Andrew Luck, only to find out that no, you're not going to have Andrew Luck. You're going to have, you have Jacoby Brissett. No offense to Jacoby Brissett.
Jacoby Brissett, but again, like, and that's Irsay's fault too. Like, again, a ruptured spleen, bro. Like, this man had to have a surgery on his spleen because you never took care of him. Andrew Luck and Izzy, he's never coming back, bro. He's done.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Have you
like,
seen him? Did you see him? Like, well, I don't remember what game it was, but he was like on the sidelines for some game. He looks like he hasn't been like lifting up like at all. He literally looks like he's just been like coasting through life and like he hasn't lifted. He hasn't thought about football. He got like that crazy mustache. Like he's not coming back.
like you saying Andrew Luck is coming back is like Panthers fans saying no, Luke Kuechly's coming back someday. Like no, Kuechly's on TV. I saw
Yeah.
Luke Kuechly working at ESPN like doing NFL Live, and I'm mad it took me that long to figure out who the hell that was. I'm like, oh, he's new. Who is that? Who is
Yeah,
that?
like Andrew Luck
I'm
was
like,
like he was on.
bro, I was at the gym. I'm like, who is that? That's fucking Luke Kuechly. God damn.
Andrew Luck looks like he's lost like all the muscle mass in his body. Like he literally has stopped working out. Like he's just got this crazy mustache, dude. Like he's for sure not going to be playing in the National Football League ever again. Like, come on, man. Like,
he's done. He's out of there.
and then the coaches that we did not list because they just got hired is Nathaniel Hackett, new head coach of Denver. Lovie Smith. All the luck to you, Lovie. But I don't expect him to get fired in Houston. Doug Peterson, Jacksonville Jaguars, just got hired as well. Josh McDaniels. Yeah, but I didn't. So you listed him. But Josh McDaniels, head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. Unless he decides to quit this job before the season starts, I'm sure he's going to be fine. Mike McDaniel, Miami Dolphins probably will be okay. Just got a new job, unless things go extremely south there in Miami, because you don't really expect to have all of a sudden have Tyreek Hill on your roster. Matt Eberflus for the Chicago Bears, probably safe.
Excuse me.
And then Kevin O'Connell, Minnesota Vikings, Dennis Allen, New Orleans Saints, Brian Daboll, New York Giants, Nick Sirianni, Philadelphia Eagles, and then whoever took the job in Tampa Bay, Todd Bowles.
That's Todd Bowles.
Todd Bowles should be fine in Tampa Bay as well. But yeah, let us know what you think about which teams are sitting on an extremely hot seat. I actually really like TJ's list. I was probably a little bit too cruel on Brandon Staley and Kevin Stefanski when I was putting my list together. But I could see a scenario, especially Stefanski.
You got to think about
Stefanski.
You got to think of it like this. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7?
Yeah.
8. So you got about 7, 8 coaches listed there. On average, that's how many coaches get fired.
Yep.
Right. So you're right on the NFL average. So would I be surprised if the Browns with this Kevin Stefanski and said, "Hey, bro, here go your walking papers." If the scenario you said, if that plays out, no. But if let's just say Deshaun Watson misses, let's give him 7 games. Right?
Yeah, he'll be fine then.
He has a cop out, right?
Yeah,
My best.
Yeah, he'll have an excuse.
My quarterback that y'all gave, not me, y'all, you owners, you gave that man $230 million. Y'all did that, right? Now y'all got quarterback looking at other teams sideways, like y'all see what Deshaun Watson got after not playing for a year.
Yeah, it'd be overall a massive headache. He still gets $230 million.
Like, I better not ever hear the terms headache and this QB don't deserve anything ever again, bro. Like, this man is battling court charges. Like, he got charges. He got cases, he got cases pending. And he got $230 million. I better not ever hear a team say this quarterback ain't worth nothing. I swear to God. Like, I better not ever hear I can't hear that ever again. Like,
and I was probably a little bit too cruel on Brandon Staley too. I think he'll probably be okay, but I think there is a scenario where like the Chargers woefully underachieved this season. I think they could be like, let's get somebody who's established and coach this team.
So the problem with that is, all right, when you say established, who's left? I
mean, you could get Tony Dungy or something,
All right, show's over. Tony Dungy ain't coaching like I don't know how long.
Tony Dungy, dude. He's gonna have Tony Dungy. We're gonna dust him off and have him coach the Chargers next season. Come on, dude.
Just said Tony Dungy. You you know last time Tony Dungy coached, man, like
$2008.
if you saw the come on, bro, it's 2022.
You,
Come on,
you don't think Tony Dungy could be an excellent coach still?
no, the game changed. That's why what's his name failed in Jacksonville.
No, you see,
Um,
but Tony Dungy at least is what Urban Meyer. Are you talking about Urban Meyer?
no,
You're talking about Coughlin, right?
yeah, Tom. That's why
But
he
Todd Coughlin
failed,
was
bro.
never even
Like,
the coach of that team. He was like
doesn't
he
matter.
was in the front office running shit to the
Mind
ground.
that,
While from there, like
that's not that's not mindsets don't change.
he was in the front office running the entire franchise into the ground. Like while he was
My, my,
there, like with the
doesn't not
front office.
mindsets don't change, right? Mindsets do not change.
Bill Cowher, who hasn't coached in like even longer, could be somebody you get.
Like
Yeah,
didn't he like they won that Super Bowl in like '05? Didn't he hang him up then? Like
yeah, yeah. You could dust off Bruce Arians. Be like, hey, Bruce Arians, we need you. Come get help. Tom Brady. Tom Brady won't chase you out of Los Angeles. I promise.
like yeah, like leave that imaginary job they made for you in Tampa Bay
Yeah, yeah.
and come coach us.
Tom Brady won't chase you off. I promise. We'll keep Tom Brady away from you.
So we can obviously do something like coaches on fire, like coaches to get all the coaches to get out. You got to replace those guys, right?
Yeah.
Fast forward 1 year, McCarthy's gone, Pete Carroll's gone. All the coaches you have listed here are somehow magically fired. It's hypothetical, right?
Okay.
Again, on average, 7 coaches get fired a year in the NFL. I'm not saying it's going to be these 7, but it's going to be some variation of this group. I 100% see. I like Matt Rule. 100%. I see him out of here. He's gone. Same thing with my
Unless the Carolina Panthers somehow go to
win
the
the Super Bowl. Is this so? 2023 is this the year we finally see Eric Bieniemy, Byron Leftwich?
I don't know. I think Eric Bieniemy is just hanging out until he retires. If my honest opinion
You think
on it.
so? I think that's the. I think for him, I think that's the case at this point.
Yeah.
He don't have to change nothing. He has Mahomes for the next 10 years. He ain't gotta worry about that. He ain't gotta worry about that part. I would like to see in Dallas. We already know that's going one or two ways. That's either gonna be Dan Quinn. If Dan Quinn doesn't get a head coaching job elsewhere, because that almost happened.
Yep.
Or Kellen Moore. Right? Like the new boy. Kellen Moore is the new boy wonder. He's been, quote unquote, the new Kyle Shanahan. Oh, and that's another thing. If let's say San Fran fires Kyle Shanahan, how fast do you think Kyle Shanahan gets a new job?
A coordinator job real fast. Head coaching job, I think it'd be a minute.
Think so?
Yeah.
Do you think Kyle Shanahan's one of those dudes like he was better as a coordinator than a head coach? Because
No, he's been a damn good head coach. But I think because you don't usually you don't usually get fired from a head coaching job and then get another one immediately. Like unless you already have a Super Bowl ring or I just think that they're. I don't think they're gonna be. I don't think he's gonna get another job immediately.
So you also got to think about this, all right? If you fire Matt LaFleur, part of the things that goes into a head coaching job is what makes it desirable. I have Aaron Rodgers, but
an aging Aaron Rodgers.
That Green Bay is not a desirable job.
No, I mean if you want, Kyle Shanahan does make a lot of sense there. I mean if you want to go just get back into the coaching ranks and take any job, I mean that Carolina job would be another one, and that's the same situation where it's a dumpster fire of a roster and a franchise and no quarterback situation. Like unless they somehow trade, like if Cliff Kingsbury gets fired and they end up Kyler Murray ends up in Carolina, I could see him being the head coach of that team immediately.
Well, yeah, we'll do the OTAs issue probably tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
That's all right. So we'll probably do the OTA because they just released some stuff that again, Kyler Murray's not in OTAs.
Kyle Murray's not going to be playing for them until he gets a new job, a new contract. So, that might be one of those situations where it's going to be the long game.
So Kyler Murray's not at OTAs.
Neither is Jesse Bates II from Cincinnati.
And he's playing on a tag.
He has not even signed that franchise tag yet.
Tag.
Yeah.
They ask this question every year, is it a big deal that certain players are missing OTAs? And it's the same answer every year. It depends on the situation.
It's true.
Right?
It really depends on the player and the situation,
Like if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I have a new offensive coordinator and a whole new receiving core. I kind of need to be at OTAs, but guess who's not at OTAs?
Yep.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. So, we'll see. We're gonna do that show tomorrow. But yeah, this has been our what seat is your current NFL coaches sitting at? Chilly, room temperature, or hot seat? If you disagree with any of our choices, please let us know down in the comment section below, and continue checking us out at Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. We are Prime Sports World in all the places except for Twitter, where we are PSW_David. I've been David Huppin. Right there is Mr. TJ Hopkins, and I am working on a new intro for these shows. I should be unveiling that sometime next week. So continue checking us out at Prime Sports World. TJ, what do we do here at the Prime, my friends?
We bring the heat, and the Miami Heat need to bring it because they are down 24
at halftime.
And it's they call him the extender because what's his name? The referee that Chris Paul don't like, Kane Fitzgerald, is officiating this game, and his paw prints are all over this. Like it is evident. It is evident. Like it's the Celtics have a 26-9 free throw advantage, and I've never seen the team get away with more hacking than the Boston Celtics have been doing in these first 24 minutes of basketball. Bro, it's sad. It's despicable. The Heat.
We'll get into our NBA coverage later this week as well. Continue checking out that content. I've been David Huppin. Right there, CJ Hopkins. We will see you guys tomorrow.
Tatum got 14 free throw attempts in the first half. The Heat have 9 as a team. That seems fishy. Jason Tatum isn't a guy that isn't a volume 3-point shooter or free throw shooter. All of a sudden he gets all the calls in the world. Yeah, it seems sketchy. That's an issue.
Yeah. We'll be back here tomorrow. You guys all have a good rest of your day. We will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day. I'll talk to you later, buddy.
See you, man.
Peace, man.